So I'm kind of processing this, a lot of this as I go. I'm not really one to record myself while I play, and even if I had, I kind of just would have sat there and been like, oh. Anyway, so one of the things I was processing while editing some of these videos together and getting them posted as this next Archwing section starts is I take back what I said about that last mission not being required, because how it was spread out across those two missions and the dialogue kind of suggested more of a pursuit than just a pursuit of a questionable friend or ally. More than just, oh, there's Teshin, let's find out what he's doing. It makes it make more sense, where it's just like, we went from the moon to Jupiter to find out what this guy is doing, and we still didn't figure it out, and I died. And that made more sense once I, gave it more thought and processed it, and instead of having this gut reaction, taking the time to process it. I loved this mission. This might be my favorite mission from The War Within. It's kind of small and compact and really doesn't... you don't really do too much, but I love the elements within it. This sneaking with the Archwing, this thing that's... this element of the game that's kind of had so much trouble finding its way, really. I mean, it's not like it doesn't fit. It fits, but where it fits has really been the question, and how those mechanics function has really been one of the bigger questions, I think, when it comes to Archwing. And being kind of this small stub craft, or basically a flying space ninja, sneaking with it really makes sense. I love that element. I would love to see this translate into a mission type somehow. And yeah, this part was awesome, and I included my dying and failing at it because I like it. Some will argue that Warframe is basically just so like when you were scanning plants for Titania, I saw arguments that it's not Warframe, and Warframe is a great many things, like building dojos. That could easily be considered something that isn't Warframe, but I think very much that whatever side of that you land on, that stealth, sneaking, spying, does still have pertinence to the major definition of what Warframe is in this game. And yeah, I just would love to see this translate into a game mode somehow. I would love to see the community talk about that and kind of really get behind the developers doing something like that after this. I loved this part. It was, for many different reasons, it was very, it was almost kind of like sneaking into the Death Star, that kind of sense of penetrating something, this kind of sense of infiltrating something that is big and scary. And at this part, if you haven't watched the teasers or the trailers or the PAX Australia footage, you don't really know what you're being led into, and all this different kind of lighting, all this creepy lighting is very cool. It has a very nice presence to it. There was something else in there about PAX... No, there was something else in there about the past two missions. Lotus tells you to exfiltrate on one of the last two missions, which is the opposite of infiltration. It's leaving the infiltration zone. And that's cool. I love that word, and... I know it's again a very minute thing to point out, but I love that. It makes you feel like an agent of something big. Exfiltration. You kind of hear that in a lot more of those high detail, like FBI, CIA kind of almost detective-like movies, but they're not detectives because they're FBI agents and agent movies, I guess you could call them. Anyway, so now that we're through that laser field, you get to a part that basically becomes a mobile defense, but I, again, love this idea of sneaking to these areas that you have to mobile defend, and I'm not sure when I will talk about more the War Within content as far as, like, the new Riven mods, whatever those turn out to be, some of the weapons, and just kind of things that happen with the operator that will be coming up, and I'll talk about those then. As far as this commentary goes, I'm not sure when I want to talk about things like the assault mode, things like this translating into other parts of the game, things like the assault mode translating into the other part of the game. Basically, I feel like a lot of these mechanics really kind of give us the sign that the game the missions within the game can be a lot more than just go do this one thing a few times, leave. And there's nothing wrong with those missions. It's just that when you kind of get to do these multiple objectives and almost feel like you're in a different game, you're in a game where if you set off the alarms, it changes the element of what you're doing here. That just feels very cool, and it feels like there are a lot of mission types that could be expanded because of that. Spies possibly merging with sabotages, and mobile defenses merging with stealth elements. Again, very, very cool. So really there isn't too much to this part. Another comment, so I made the comment about the second dream. I felt like I was more excited for the second dream as a quest, or I was more enthralled with it as a quest as opposed to the things that came with it and around it. And it's not that I'm not enthralled with what happened here. I really enjoyed the quest, and I'm just super fucking tired. I really enjoyed the quest, but I think that unlike the focus system, this Riven system, which sounds like something out of Diablo, seems like something that could immediately pique my interest. Whereas the focus system kind of seemed different than a lot of what Warframe is, and it wasn't as catching, and I think a lot of that is because a lot of it just wound up being about passives, which isn't bad because the passives have expanded our gameplay, but whatever these Riven mods are, I think they could potentially stand to expand or even change our gameplay further, because the mod system is a lot more developed. It's not new, so a system within a potential system kind of stands to have a lot more to it. I wish I had more, kind of a better phrase than that. It sounds good, guys. Yeah. I haven't really looked too far into it. I have a Riven mod, and that's about it. This is where I think Archwing really can start to stand a chance. Because I've always kind of had this feeling ever since the first Archwing mission, and I love that they... finally we have another story mission that involves the Archwing, and I feel like combining missions with the Archwing where you're on foot and then you jump into your Archwing, and it has you moving at this speed. I'm not sure if that's because the afterburners were disabled or not. Even if you're in missions and you can't use the afterburners, I think that would be much better than just going to these select few Archwing missions, many of which are just kind of they're okay. I do like the new Russian Pursuit, and I think those are awesome. But at the end of the day, I think that the Archwing could really benefit from being intertwined with other mission types. They could get players saying, ooh, now I have a reason to go get Archwing mods, Archwing parts for these weapons to have more to my Archwing, and that has me excited. That just having Archwing involved with on-foot mechanics too, just I think could really bring it more into the fold of what Warframe is. And I might talk about Archwing another time on State of the Frame if some of you feel like checking that out. Anywho, let's go ahead and move into the next part. If you guys liked